What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Sorare scouting video here on the channel today. I know you guys are really enjoying these scouting videos, so of course we had to cover La Liga, and this one today is going to be all the starting keepers in the La Liga competition. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do remember to like, subscribe if you're new. Let's get into the starting keepers for this season. So for those of you guys that watched the La Liga Beast video, you know I had a lot of help from our league expert in La Liga ABX. Of course, he has helped us out with this video here again today because it is La Liga. Link in the description down below to his Twitter. And of course, if you guys need any help in La Liga, give him a message and I'm sure he'll be glad to help you. With that being said, our starting goalkeeper and our first goalkeeper, number one spot, is going to be Unai Simon for Atletico Bilbao. Of course, a fantastic keeper to own on Sorare because not only is he's sort of been in and out of the Spain squad, of course, you know, winning it with them not too long ago, but yeah, he had a long-term injury after the Euros, as we know, and then he's sort of come back into the frame of things. You can see here, if you go to last 40, he did have this long spell out, of course, after the Euros. And yeah, he sort of was on and off last season. I believe he rotated with Balenciaga for the European games, as you can see here. But yeah, I mean, a great goalkeeper, and of course, Spain number one. So a good goalkeeper to own, and no doubt he will be quite expensive. I will say before we kick on with the rest of the names in the video today, I'm not Spanish. I'm also not great at pronouncing names, so if I pronounce one of them wrong, you know, you can literally see them on screen, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, moving on next to Jan Oblak, probably my favourite goalkeeper in La Liga, and well, he plays for my favourite team as well, Atletico Madrid. Personally, I just like Madrid. No connection or anything. I just rate them highly. And yeah, Jan Oblak, you can see his scores speak for himself. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about him. Of course, national goalkeeper, so lots of utility. Playing for Slovenia and just a great goalkeeper in general. Moving on to Barcelona, of course, they just signed Joan Garcia. For those of you guys that played the under 23 comp last season, of course you will know this man played for Espanyol and was a great goalkeeper. No doubt he'll convert that over to Barcelona, and of course, again, as the same, you know, the first three goalkeepers, of course, very expensive, and very good goalkeepers, no doubt. And then moving on next to the Celta Vigo goalkeeper, you can see here in his little Bournemouth kit, because of course, come from Bournemouth, it is Radu, a Romanian goalkeeper who looks like he's going to be the starting goalkeeper for Celta Vigo next year, and probably going to be on the cheaper end, as Celta Vigo, of course, not quite Barcelona, Atletico Madrid level. But you can see here he did actually go out on loan last season, of course, you know, from Bournemouth, but went out on loan, as you can see, and he had a few games in goal here for Venezia, but of course Venezia not the greatest team. So considering he wasn't playing for the best Italian team, that's for sure. These are not too bad too bad of a scores. So yeah, could be quite a decent one, but of course expect this one to be on the cheaper side. And then moving on to the last one of this batch is going to be the Deportivo goalkeeper, of course. It's going to be Sivera. Of course, they did have I forgot his name now, but they did have a young goalkeeper at Deportivo, but it looks like Sivera is going to be the goalkeeper as he has moved on, and you can see here sort of it's okay scores, but this was, well, how do we say, like on Sorare last year, goalkeepers just got crucified because of the way the scoring matrix worked. However, they've changed it for this year, and I believe you just lose 5 points for every goal conceded, which means that you can actually like use goalkeepers from lesser teams, and it might be a bit more viable. So yeah, potentially a strategy to look into for Sorare 26, where you could use, you know, perhaps a little lesser known goalkeepers and get away with it a bit more. Of course, you would not be wanting to touch goalkeepers who of lesser caliber last year, but could potentially be a viable strategy for this year. Up next, we have the Elche goalkeeper, who I believe is going to be Alejandro Iturbe, if that's how you say his name, and looks like he is a very young goalkeeper going to be given his opportunity in La Liga this season. You can see he's sort of been in and around international level, so he must be some sort of decent keeper. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've never seen this guy play. However, I do think he's going to be the starting goalkeeper for Elche next season, so he's in the video here today. By all means, of course, I'm not recommending purchasing this guy because, like I said, I've not seen him play, but could potentially be an under 23s goalkeeper. But playing for Elche in La Liga, probably not going to do too great. But yeah. Moving on to Espanyol goalkeeper, who's going to be Marko Dmitrovic, who of course is going to be replacement for Joan Garcia. And this guy is interesting because, of course, he was at Rayo Vallecano last season, but oh no, sorry, that was the season before. He was a backup goalkeeper, I believe, at Rayo Vallecano, but then went out on loan to Legunas, I believe, yeah, and he sort of, well, obviously he was number one there, and of course he's got another number one spot. And I remember him being the backup goalkeeper at Vallecano, I believe it was, and he just always looked like he deserved to be number one. And of course, last season we saw him get his opportunity at number one, and looks like he's got a move already to a slightly better team in Espanyol. So potentially could do well. Of course, Espanyol slightly better team, but again could struggle. But yeah, Dmitrovic going to be their goalkeeper. And moving on to Getafe, another team that could potentially struggle. And we've got David Soria. And you can see here, his score's actually pretty good, to be fair. And like I said, he, with the new goalkeeper scoring system matrix in Sorare, this could potentially be one where it's like, okay, this guy's actually going to be scoring decent scores this season. Of course, with the old Matrix, probably not going to do too well. But you can see here a couple of decent scores in there, not too bad at all. A few 70s, few 80s. Don't get me wrong, a lot of 30s, but yeah, a bit inconsistent. But he doesn't look too bad, to be fair to him, and could be quite cheap. And next we have, of course, Gaza, ex-Tottenham goalkeeper, so we know about him, of course, being in the Premier League. But yeah, he is, of course, a Girona goalkeeper. I did actually own a card of his last year, and yeah, you can see it was actually not too bad. And I think Girona defensively are quite good, so this could potentially be like a sleeper pick in the La Liga. Of course, all goalkeepers are going to be expensive to start things off, don't get me wrong, but potentially could come down in price. Depends on how Girona do. Of course, last year they didn't do the best, but they could potentially do well again. We'll see. And the last one for this batch is the Levante goalkeeper, Campos. And again, looks like a bit of a beast. And another under 23 potential goalkeeper here. Of course, I say this with a pinch of salt because this is with, or in La Liga 2 last year. So will it translate to the main league or the first division? Who knows? But you can see here some decent scoring in the second division. So again, another young goalkeeper. We're yet to see how well he does, but potentially could allow for his price to be quite nice. Yeah, quite a nice pickup going into next season. Up next, we have a few interesting ones and some questionable picks, maybe. Of course, this is just of the opinion of me and ABX, but going into Mallorca this season, I believe it's going to be Leo Roman. Of course, he was not number one last year. He was actually Dominic Grief, and you can see here from the stats that Roman actually done really good when he was given his opportunity, and I believe he has been the favoured one in pre-season matches. So we're going to go with Roman here to be the goalkeeper for Mallorca next season. And to be fair, when he has come in and covered, looks like he's done a fantastic job. You can see even here some great scores, of course, in the past. So yeah, could be a good one, and potentially going to be battling for his spot, don't get me wrong, but that's who we're going with for Mallorca. Moving on to a lot more of a nailed pick here for Osasuna. It is Herrera. I think he's been the goalkeeper for a few seasons now, to my memory, and of course he's done pretty well. Osasuna, of course, had a decent season last season, and one of the goalkeepers that is a bit more nailed, secure. When you're purchasing him, you don't have to worry too much about potentially losing his spot or things like that. He's quite a consistent performer. And then moving on to Rayo Vallecano goalkeeper Batalla, and again decent goalkeeper, but Vallecano, are they going to do good this year? Of course, you guys have to weigh this up when you're purchasing the goalkeepers, but yeah, I believe he's going to be the starting goalkeeper. Will he score well? Who knows? Of course, you can see here he's had a couple of decent scores in him, and yeah, potentially could be a decent one to pick up. And moving up next to Real Betis, and I'll be honest, they have about 17 goalkeepers, it feels like. I think they're Pau Lopez. Of course, Adrian was in goal last year. We're going to go with Valles here to be the goalkeeper. Of course, last Pau, you can see him here in his last Palmas kit, obviously transferred over. And to be honest, yeah, this one's a bit of a hard one to call, but we're going to go with Valles, and who knows how good Real Betis would be this year. Of course, they seem to be quite consistently up there, so could be a decent team, but it seems like a bit of a toss-up in the goalkeeper department. And moving on to yeah, probably one of the best. I mean, is he the best goalkeeper in the? I don't know if he's the best goalkeeper in the world. He'll be up there for sure for me personally. You could argue, Donnarumma, but yeah. Anyway, great goalkeeper nonetheless. Of course, Real Madrid's keeper Courtois, and yeah, not much to say really. Going to be expensive. Great goalkeeper, great team, and yeah, Thibaut Courtois is Real Madrid's starting keeper. And our last batch of goalkeepers for today, we're kicking things off with Real Oviedo's own Moldovan, of course, a Romanian goalkeeper once again, and yeah, looks like a pretty decent scorer, of course. Again, this, remember, guys, is La Liga 2, so potentially won't translate over. But yeah, Real Oviedo probably going to have a rough time in La Liga, but this is going to be their starting goalkeeper, of course, ex-Atletico Madrid keeper. Looks decent. Let's see how he gets on for the season. Up next we have Alex Remiro, again another very nailed starter, and of course was Spain's number one during Unai Simon's absence, so of course highly rated in Spain. Real Sociedad, a great defensive team as well, so could be a very good goalkeeper to pick up. You can see at the back end of last year especially, not the best scores from him, but we know what he's capable of in the past. Of course, you can see here some great scores. And yeah, I think Alex Remiro is, again, going to be expensive, but a great goalkeeper in the league. And moving on to Nyland, I did actually own a card of his from Sevilla at the start of last year, and he didn't do insane for me, but that's not to say he won't do well for you guys. Of course, he is a starting goalkeeper for Sevilla. Sevilla, not exactly a terrible team, you can see here, not too bad. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he is Norway's number one, you can see here. He's played a few games. I can't remember. That could be wrong, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he is. Oh, you can see here, he did actually play both games here for Norway. So yeah, he's got international utility, of course playing for Sevilla, a top team, so could be a good pick for the season coming up. And moving on to the man that he got his move, Ara Balenciaga. Of course, we talked about him briefly in the video, or earlier in the video, but I wanted to save I didn't want to talk about him too much. I wanted to save it for his actual own segment. Of course, he was rotating last season with Unai Simon playing the European matches, but now he has his number one spot at Valencia, and I think he's going to be a good goalkeeper, to be honest. He looked very good in Europe last season, as you can see. A couple of clean sheets in there against Rangers, and yeah, even a last man tackle against United, but looks like a decent keeper, and it's always hard to judge just players in general that don't get consistent game time. It's very hard to just judge them, to be honest, because as a put yourself in their shoes as a footballer. The one thing you need is a bit of security, a bit of like what's the right word, consistency in your routine. If you're playing week in and week out, you're likely to perform better. So I feel like Julen, however you say his name, hasn't really been given his like ultimate opportunity yet, and I think he'll have a good season this season. So yeah, could be a good one to pick up. And last but not least, Luiz Junior. Of course, again, if those of you guys that played Sorare last year, you would have heard about this man because he was a fantastic keeper. And again, like you can see, quite a young one. I think he was. I'm pretty sure he was under 23 last year, and of course he's aged out now, but still a great goalkeeper for Villarreal, the Yellow Submarines. And yeah, great goalkeeper, good pickup, and going to be the starting goalkeeper. So there you have it, boys. There is all the starting goalkeepers in La Liga next season. I hope you guys did enjoy the video here today. If you did, then please do remember to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you guys in a future video. Peace.